Hello! Can you see me? Here I am on the inside, and this is the front. These are the swing arms for the rear suspension. You got these braced up to the car. They weld in a pocket down here. Basically, you're going to replace everything in between these pockets. But right now, I'm going to be cutting this rear firewall up here, down here, around here, up and out. And leave this panel in. Whatever Thomas did when he built this, he got some pieces from something. This is some kind of corrugated panel with a window hole or an access hole in it, and he made this panel and welded it in. It's got his bead rolls on it and stuff, and then you can see more of the material up here. I looked on the roof. This roof's made out of a whole bunch of pieces of sheet metal. There's this hammer welded seam here, one around there. There's a section put in here. There's a piece put in over in here. There's a little rectangle put in here. So I think they either used this roof from something or made this whole entire roof. This is all made by hand, the strap steel and the window frame. And anyway, so what I'm going to do first is work on this side of the suspension. I'm going to cut this panel out, get into here, redo the structure, put this panel back, actually take the wheel well out as well, then put it all back together. The inner wheel wells behind the seat that just bolted in place here and kept the water out, kind of, but he just bolted these in to angle iron, and he wrapped the edge of tacked a piece of stock onto here and then just tarred the crap out of it. So that was his inner wheel well. I already took the other one out on the other side. They're pretty rough. I'll save those for later. I'm basically going to come in and cut one screw, get the rest of the top of this wheel well out, and then I'm going to take this panel out and get a look at the structure here. So basically everything from like here down is going to be brand new, from the tail pan all the way up to the firewall. Ah, what the heck happened? I cut it. I kept cutting and kept cutting. As you can see here, I've cut that panel over there. I've cut out of the passenger side. Alright, we got a lot going on here now. You know, I've hogged all this panel out, got to the spring perch, the spring bucket. So originally there was structure out here, structure in here to hold the spring pocket. I've got a brace temporarily back here. I put the jack in just to hold it because they never welded this front edge of the spring bucket, so I didn't want the thing to creep open on me over the night. So I just temporarily put a jack on top of it to hold it. And I got this chain here in case the coil spring comes out, which it can't because it's got a bracket on the bottom and a cup on the top, but better safe than sorry. So I started building the structure here. I've got this first piece that the wheel well ties into, and also is the back of the firewall hooks to it. And over here, this lower piece I gotta build and taper it down over here. It gets out of the way for the swing arm. But I wanted to get it tied into the spring bucket, so I got it tacked into there. I got to weld it up top where it transitions back into the virgin material. I'm going to pull the jack out, and then this side gets another piece of angle that runs up here and ties into the top of this point here, and then this ties in down here on this structure that goes down into the floor. So I'm going to put this piece on, and that'll triangulate the spring bucket, and then I can cut some of the structure out down here, rebuild this lower mount, and then fabricate this side of this piece, and then fabricate down in here some of this. It's a jack out of a 97 F-150, but makes a good bottle jack because it's got this thumb screw here. You can screw it up and down real easy. So it's always handy to save stuff like this. I thought about replacing this whole back firewall, but I kind of want to leave it how it was originally in the car, so there's nothing wrong with the centerpiece here that he made. So I'm just going to replace the sides, and since this is a restoration of this car for the museum, you know, this is how he did it with this reclaimed panel with a access cover welded up in the center. So I'm going to try to do that. Alright, I got my structures all welded in here good, and what I had to do, I cut away the side mount for this swing arm and reattached some of the floor. Now I'm rebuilding the lower rearmost brace that attaches under this and into the center of the car. I'm rebuilding that now. So down underneath there, but once I get this rebuilt up to here, then I can bring the rest of this leg down. The angles over here, I can tie all this back up, and then I'll strengthen it up where I can cut the wheel well out. So I'm down underneath working on this. Alright, after a whole bunch of monkeying around with the welder breaking down and a bunch of other stuff, I got my other leg and the A-frame here ready to tack up. I've gone ahead and rebuilt some of the structure down below. So I got something to tie that in. I got a straight edge going across my firewall so I can see how close I'm going to be. So I'm going to go ahead and tack this. Then I'm going to bring the other vertical leg down. And then I can box a bunch of this in. And actually before I do that, I got to add the riser to the rocker panel. The rocker panel is like an L, and I got a piece of 1-inch square tubing I'm going to bump that up with. So I'm going to go add that on here next. But not making as much progress as I want to do today, but all kinds of hijinks and nonsense going on. The welder, the tip got slag in it and freaking shorted out, and I couldn't get it to go. And I was out of tips, so I'm using a 35 thousandths tip with my 24 thousandths wire, which isn't ideal, but I've got to order some more tips. But I should be able to get through for now. So this is the piece that the outer fender that I took out earlier that the outer splash shield screwed to. I welded that in so I can make my outer piece here. This is the lower part of the A-arm, or the A-frame for the spring perch. Got that tied in. Down below here, I rebuilt the whole bottom support underneath this A-arm that comes out here, this 1-inch tubing, and then it'll be the top of it will curve down here to make the floor. I haven't made that yet. Here is my my template for the piece that goes in here to fix this spring pocket. I'll weld to this, weld to that, and then the sheet metal cover that's over this will go back on after I put the edge on it here. So that's ready to get made and going like that. But this is all tied in together good, so the spring bucket should be solid. I'm going to go ahead and try to cut this wheel well out and go ahead and get in here and try to cut this thing free. Let's see what happens.